Hi, this is Dr. Anthony Edwards here, and I'd like to talk a little bit about making sense of higher ed enrollment data and just figuring out ways that we can use that data to do better with it. So again, I'm Dr. Anthony Edwards, and I am a higher ed administrator at a university, and I have experience working with online programs, and so this is something that's really important for me in terms of how do you use data, how do you find the data, and then how to use it to make good decisions. So, if you're joining us, I'd really appreciate it if you share this with your followers and just let them know, because I think this would be helpful. I'm going to kind of go over what we do here, but I'm going to do this in a way that's pretty general, and so I think it will help you regardless of what institution that you're working at. So, all right. Well, thank you. I will move the camera up. So, is that better? All right. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate it. So, basically, with our system, one of the things that you have to start in is a lot of that data is only, on the inside of the firewall. So you got to log in. So once you get there, that system's probably going to have a report index. And so that will show you a list of all the different sections and what are the different reports in each section. So make sure that you get familiar with the different sections and what reports are in each place so that you know where to go. I'm going to kind of go through this both in terms of sections but also in terms of questions, because I think a lot of times you go into the system, and if you're not a number cruncher, you don't think in terms of I just go here. You might think in terms of what question am I trying to answer, and then where do I find that report that's going to give me that number. So first thing maybe, how have we grown as an institution over the last few years? And in our certified data tab, that actually has a report that has a student headcount 5-year, and so you can look at that, and that'll actually show you, depending on what filters you want to put in there, how much as an institution we've grown. Maybe you want to look at it by location if you have multiple locations. Maybe you want to look at it by college, academic college. What's education doing versus business administration, or maybe you want to go down to the degree level and see where the growth is. So another question you might have is, well, how many graduates have we had? So in most institutions, they're going to have a graduation report, and that's also going to break down how many graduates you had in total, but also by area. So if you work in a particular department, you want to know, well, how many students have graduated and got a degree in communication studies in the last 5 years? Well, then that report will help you do that. So I'm going to shift from kind of a general bird's eye view now to some of the more specific questions. One area of focus is enrollment, and you might have the question, well, how does our enrollment compare to what our enrollment was last year? So there's a couple reports you can use to do that. In our system, the way we look at data depends on how your system classifies students, but we've got a couple of reports. One is our enrollment comparison by site with total semester credit hour production, and then we also have another report that's enrollment comparison by site with just the online semester credit hour production, because as you may or may not know, usually across America, there's students are taking, every student, or I shouldn't say every student, but basically, about a third of students are taking an online course. So some of those are taking all online, some of those are at a face-to-face institution, and they're taking an online or blended course too. So it's helpful to get a sense by looking at both reports to know, what percentage roughly of our students are taking face-to-face courses, what percentage are taking online and blended courses. So and I think it's important to monitor that and figure out, what do we need to be doing in terms of offering courses, and what do we need to do to make both our face-to-face and our online courses more engaging, so that we can get those students to make sure all those courses make, because we want to make sure they all make. But what we don't want to do is create a situation where you say, oh, well, the face-to-face sections don't make because they don't have students, but we've got to create those engaging classroom experiences that make students want to take those courses. Okay. Can you see enrollment by program? Well, in our system we can, using the students enrolled off campus report. And that one you can actually break down again with multiple filters, so you can look at by level, whether a graduate or undergraduate, what colleges, what majors, what departments. So it just depends on how you want to run the data and how it's meaningful for you, but that allows you to do that. Okay, the admissions or recruiting tab. So if you've got questions about how we're doing with just how we're doing with prospective students as opposed to how we're doing with current students, you can use this tab to do that. So question you might have is, how are we doing with transfer applications and admissions? Well, we've got a few different reports you can use to do that. You can, you might want to be looking at FTIC, or first time in college student admissions. So that's something that you also may want to look at. And you have a few reports: the undergraduate daily admissions comparison report with campus. You can also use the daily transfer application count. We also have a report that gives us a list of our pending applications and our admitted students, so you can kind of get a sense of where the students are in the enrollment funnel, and then it helps you to know what students you need to follow up with, because maybe they're missing a transcript, or maybe they haven't paid the application fee, or whatever that is, so you can make sure that they complete the application. And then once they are admitted, make sure that they register, obviously. For us, also finding out what percent of students are FTIC, but also have 30 or more hours and are living in a certain area, because those students then have some choices about where they want to attend classes. All right. How do I find admitted students who haven't registered yet? Well, that one is the undergraduate daily admissions comparison report with campus. And if you're interested in graduate admissions, you might ask, well, how are we doing with graduate admissions? And you can use the graduate daily admissions comparison with campus, and you can also look at the graduate and doctoral admitted students by college and campus. You can see that, and that's in our system. You might have a little bit different name at your institution, but it'll probably be the same type of information. And so you might have questions that are more registrar related, and so one of those example questions might be, how do I find out what classes are full and what classes have seats left? Well, we have a course section scan report that allows us to see that, and you can see that for face-to-face classes, for online classes, and classes for each location that we offer classes. Because sometimes in the system in which students register for courses, it's not always easy to see what classes are still open. And so that allows advisors to then have that list, so students call and ask, well, what classes can I take? I just got admitted to the university, or I'm still trying to register and find classes, what's open? Well, that's how you can help them. How do I find students who don't have a degree plan on file? Well, one of the things in advising that we do have to monitor is making sure that all those students have degree plans. And rather than going student by student, figuring out yes they do or no they don't, there's actually a report for us that tells us that the list of students that have no degree plan on file and what their major is, so we can have them follow up with their department to get that done. And so how do I find current students who haven't registered yet? So that's not just for admitted students, but also for current students. There is a report that we have called the Students Enrolled Prior Not Registered Report. So that allows us to see those students who've already been enrolled but haven't registered for the upcoming semester, and make sure that they stay on track and so they can graduate on time. And another question would be, how does enrollment by program compare across campuses? Well, we actually have a students by program report, and so you can see for each college you can run a different report, and it'll show you for each major what the enrollment is at each location and what percentage of the total enrollment comes from each location. And last question is, how do I find numbers or phone numbers or contact information? Well, we have a report in our system that does that. So it allows us, if you don't have a CRM or customer relationship management system, you may have to go through and find that information so that you can contact those students. So that's a little easier, again, if you have that customer relationship management system. But if not, then your business intelligence system can allow you to get that information. So and if you've run all these reports and you're still not finding what you need, contact institutional research. There's probably a form on the institutional research website at your campus where you can make comments and ask for certain things. Sometimes just adding a field to an existing report or creating a new report from scratch. And just be respectful and give them time to get that done. So for those of you all, if you found that this is helpful, if you could just type yes or no, I'd appreciate it if you could just type yes or no if you find this information helpful, if this is something that you'd like me to talk about more, and just appreciate that feedback. Also, just, let me know. I mean, I'd like to probably do this on a regular basis, so if there's some topics that you'd like me to do a scope about, let me know, and I will be sure to do that for you. So again, I'd like to thank you. Before I go, I would like to plug the Texas Social Media Research Institute Conference. The Texas Social Media Conference is going to be in Fort Worth Friday, November 6th, and you can find out more information about that on txsocialmedia.org. And also would like to let you know, if you have any questions about growing and pursuing a degree, you can go to tarleton.edu/global campus, and you can find out more about the options that we've got at both the undergraduate and the master's level. So thank you all so much, and this has been great, and this is Dr. Tony Edwards signing out. Bye-bye.